to your skin when that suction's on and then when it turns off? How does your skin rebound? And that's a measure of its firmness, its elasticity, its fatigue, okay? And what they found in this particular study, here we're looking at the collagen that we use in transfer factor collagen, and then the placebo, okay? And what did they find? At the beginning, they had this amount of elasticity, but at the end, they actually saw an improvement in elasticity. So essentially what's happening is your skin is getting firmer, okay? And you see that with TF collagen, but you don't see it as much with the placebo. So you see a small trend, right? But not nearly as much as with collagen. In fact, these little things here, these asterisks, that means that you have a statistically significant result. And in our world, as we evaluate things, having a statistically significant result is very important, because what that means is that it didn't happen by chance, right? This result is not statistically significant, and so it could have happened by chance, right? But when you have this result, which is statistically significant, that means you have a 95% or 99% confidence that what is happening is real. Okay? So now you guys are starting to learn about clinical studies, right? Yeah? But these are very important points to understand, right? Because we don't want to do these studies and then they show some results, but we're not sure of those results, right? We have to be sure of those results. And remember, these are blinded, right? So when they're doing these studies, they don't know until the end of this study, when they unblind it, who's taking collagen and who isn't. Okay? Does that make sense? We good? Okay. We also looked at fine lines and wrinkles in this study. In this particular case, we looked at perioral wrinkles. Okay? So when you think about wrinkles on your face, there's really a couple different places where they become very prevalent. Around your mouth, and where else? Around your eyes, right? Okay? In this study, they looked at perioral wrinkles. And again, you see a decrease with TF collagen. From the beginning of the study until the end, you see a decrease in perioral wrinkles. Okay? No change with collagen. All right? So in this study, now you see an improvement in elasticity, firmness, and now also wrinkles. Okay? This was a really interesting result as we started to dig into this, because normally when you think about collagen, you really think about fine lines, wrinkles, elasticity. Well, they actually, in this particular study, they actually looked at complexion evenness, right? Complexion evenness. So some people have brown spots and red spots on their skin, right? And that's a sign of depleted collagen. And so in this study, they actually looked at the evenness of the skin. And what did they find? They found an improvement with collagen in the evenness of our skin. Okay? And again, looking at placebo, no difference. And they also looked at radiance, right? Radiance, the glow of our skin. And I'm not showing you that data, but in this study, they actually saw an improvement in skin radiance. All right? So when you go out and you talk about collagen, not only can you talk about fine lines and wrinkles and elasticity and firmness, you can talk about complexion, right? You see improvements in complexion. And most likely, the other collagens out on the market don't have that aspect because they haven't done the research to show it. But we have that research. Okay? Does that make sense? Does everybody get that? Okay, fine lines, wrinkles, skin firmness, complexion. Those were the main points for this particular study. But that's not all. We did another study, okay? Similar in nature, except in this case, we actually were taking 5 grams of collagen per day. 5 grams of collagen is important. Why? Because that's how much collagen we have in TF collagen. We have 5 grams, right? What was really cool is they were seeing effects at 2.5 grams but we have double the amount in TF collagen. So when you buy TF collagen, you are getting 5 grams of collagen in the products, okay? And so we did a study with 5 grams of collagen to see what effects we could see in that scenario. So what do we look at? Skin fatigue, right? Elasticity, firmness, right? In this case, they're calling it skin fatigue. Now remember, this was an 8-week study, right? Well, what's interesting is they actually started measuring it at 4 weeks, right? So this is the beginning of the study. This is the middle of the study, which was 4 weeks, and this is the end of the study. And did you notice this? Statistically significant results at 4 weeks. In as little as 4 weeks, you see improvements in skin fatigue. So one of the questions that we always get is, well, okay, if I start taking this, when am I going to see results? And this data shows you can start to see results in as early as 4 weeks, right? Most studies, they go out to 3 months before you see results. This study, they actually saw results with the same amount of collagen that you have in TF collagen. They saw results in as early as 4 weeks. So that's pretty amazing, right? That's great stuff. What about wrinkles? Periorbital wrinkles, where are those? Crow's feet, right? We know that as crow's feet. The scientific term is periorbital wrinkles. And what do we see? We see a huge decrease in crow's feet, okay? There was other data that I'm not showing, but saw improvements in skin firmness. What was really interesting about this study was the skin firmness wasn't done on the face. Guess where it was done? On the belly. We actually saw skin firmness on the belly. Kind of interesting, huh? We also saw an improvement in skin hydration, which maybe in Malaysia is not as big a deal, but where I am in Utah, it's winter, it's cold, and it's dry. And if you've ever been in an environment like that, skin hydration is very, very important, right? And they saw improvements in the potential for skin hydration in those environments. Okay? That makes sense? Everybody? Okay. Now, study number 3. Study 3 is very similar to study number 1, except they looked at a few different things. Okay? 2.5 grams of collagen. Remember, we have 5 grams. We have double the amount of collagen in there, okay, in the study. One of the most interesting studies, and I think it's really important here, is that they actually looked at the lightness of the skin. So remember the first study we talked about an even complexion, right? It evened out our complexion. But here, they actually did this really cool experiment looking at the skin color. And this instrument is very similar to the instruments that home decorators use when they're trying to match colors. There's a very precise way to match colors, and they use something called a colorimeter, and that's what that is. And it actually measures what the color of your skin is. And what they found in this study was that collagen actually improves the lightness of your skin. It makes your skin lighter. Right? Not all collagens do that. Not all collagens have the research to show that it lightens your skin. And what I understand from this market is lightening your skin is very important. Right? Is that true? Because where I come from, that's not always what people want, right? But here, people want light skin. And so when I saw this result, I was like, oh my gosh. I have got to tell them about this result because that's something that they want, right? And that's something that you can get with the TF collagen. Okay? We also saw improvements in elasticity, fatigue, and tone. Skin tone. Very important to have a smooth complexion, skin tone, and lightness, right? And you will see that with the collagen. We also saw improvements in wrinkles. No big surprise there, right? We've seen that before. The other interesting thing is that when they do these studies, they also ask people, how do you feel? You know, we can do all these wonderful measurements and they're very objective and they're very powerful, but as much as how powerful that is, it's also powerful to understand what people feel. when you're taking the product, how do you feel? How does it make you feel? What are you seeing? And remember, there's some people that aren't taking collagen, they're taking a placebo, right? And so you can always distinguish whether it's a real result or not a real result, because there are some people who are taking placebo and some people who aren't, and everybody's blind and you don't know whether you're taking it or not. And what did they find? In these self-reported improvements, so they're filling out these surveys as they do this study, they found that their skin looked brighter to them, right? It wasn't a measurement, it was what their perception of their skin was. And if you feel like it's working, you feel like your skin is getting lighter and better, that's every bit as important as measurements that demonstrate it as well. So to have both of those aspects, you have self-reported improvements, and then you have measurements, objective measurements that demonstrate those improvements in terms of brightness, radiance, hydration. That's powerful stuff, right? I mean, that's something that really makes you feel like this product's gonna do what I want it to do. And you can talk about that, right? Because we have the data, we have the science, we have the research, we have the clinical studies that demonstrate that prove that. That's clinically proven. Dermatology-tested, clinically proven. Okay? And that's really, in my mind, what differentiates the different sources of collagen. Right? So remember, we have the bovine, we have the chicken and the fish. And really the research around fish collagen, marine collagen, the collagen that's in RTF collagen, is the strongest research out there. It has fine lines and wrinkles research that it improves. It improves skin moisture. It improves elasticity, firmness, fatigue, all these visual hallmarks of aging. It also improves brightness, radiance, tone, complexion, lightness. No other collagen does that. When you look at the research on bovine and chicken, it doesn't have that research to support it. So that's why marine collagen is important as a collagen. So when you're looking out there, if somebody's telling you, oh, I can just get this collagen down at the drugstore. Well, when I was traveling over here, I always like to go look at the drugstores and see what products are out there. Every collagen that I looked at was bovine collagen. And they still make the same claims. They say bovine collagen gives you fine lines and wrinkles and skin moisture. And there's probably studies out there that do it, but there's not nearly as many studies as what's done in fish collagen. Okay? So that's really the lead. When you go out and you talk about our collagen, the lead is we've got the best collagen out there in the market. And we've got data to show it. Okay? All right, well, what else do we have in here? Well, we have tri-factor formula, right? And what's unique about tri-factor formula is that it's exclusive to 4Life. So there may be other collagens out there that have marine collagen, right? We are not the only company that uses marine collagen, but nobody else has 4Life tri-factor formula. That's exclusive to 4Life. 4Life owns that. It's our ingredient. Nobody else has it. And that's another way you can distinguish our collagen from somebody else's collagen. Okay? Now, why is that important? Well, remember when I talked about how we develop products, do we ever put ingredients in there just to put them in there? And they're not backed by science? Well, there's a reason why we put tri-factor in there, right? When you think about our skin is really the first line of defense against harmful threats, right? Health threats. And so in a lot of ways you can think of our skin as an immunological organ, right? Our skin's an organ, right? It's just like our heart, our muscles, it's an organ. And it's an important organ because it's the largest organ. And it's also an immunological organ. Right? It's an immune organ. So it makes sense that we would want to put an immune benefiting ingredient in a product that helps support the targeted areas that we want to affect, right? Which is the skin, the nails, and the hair. In this particular case, the tri-factor formula is ultra-factor, ovofactor, and nanofactor. Those are the 3 transfer factor ingredients that make up trifactor. Okay? And in this formula, we have 100 milligrams to help support our immune system. Okay? That alone is probably enough to say why we have trifactor in there, but yet there's still more, right? So let's talk about that. Well, I mentioned that our skin is an immunological organ, okay? And when we think about our immune system is made up of what? Immune cells, right? And there's all kinds of different types of immune cells, right? Can anybody name a few of the immune cells? B cells, T cells, natural killer cells, right? Yeah, macrophages. And we know from all the research that we've done all over the years that transfer factor impacts all of these immune cells, okay? In our skin, we actually have T cells. We have a high concentration of T cells, right? Because our skin is an immunological organ, right? It's there to protect us from all these harmful threats. So it would make sense that there's a lot of immune cells in our skin, right? There's a lot of immune cells in our belly because it protects from what we eat. And there's a lot of immune cells in our skin to protect us from those harmful external threats that we encounter every day. Every day we're encountering threats, right? Well, there's also something, and so in terms of numbers, there's about 20 billion T cells, and there's actually more T cells in our skin than in our blood, okay? That was interesting for me to understand. These T cells also have memory. So what does it mean to have memory? It means that they can be educated. And what do we know about transfer factor? What does transfer factor do? It's a communication molecule. It educates our immune system. So it would make sense that we would want to have transfer factor because we want to educate our T cells. Okay? Now, one of the interesting things about T cells is when you have a lot of skin problems, oftentimes that's because your immune cells have become overactive. So a lot of the skin problems that you have are because your T cells have become overactive. And what do we know about transfer factor? We know it boosts our immune cells, right? When we have weakened immune cells, it helps boost them up, right? We've shown that data over and over again, right? On natural killer cells, how it activates our natural killer cells to help boost up our immune system. But what about when our immune system is overactive, right? It's very, very too high. And that's what happens a lot of times with our skin. A lot of the problems that we have with our skin is because our immune cells are overactive. Well, we did a study a number of years ago where we studied T cells and we stimulated them so that they were overactive. And I don't have the data, I probably should have put the data in here, but what it showed was when we look at transfer factor classic, when we look at trifactor, when we look at TF+, it takes those overactive T cells and brings them back down. It balances them, right? They're overactive and it brings them down, right? So the important thing about an immune system is that it needs to be balanced, right?